Today we'll talk about the different kinds of irony and show you how and when they are used. So, irony is a way of expression by saying the exact opposite of what is truly meant. We often use it in literature to help us understanding what actually is and what seems to be. So, the content of our presentation is first, verbal irony. And there are three types of verbal irony. We have the understatement, euphemism, and the hyperbole. Then we will talk about situational, dramatic, cosmic, and visual irony. Verbal irony. First, I will talk about the understatement. Understatement draws attention to a fact which already are obvious. Here comes an example. Laura comes out of the exam with an A+ and says, "It went okay." Then we have the euphemism. They are words and phrases that camouflage the harsh reality. For example, golden years. It describes the later period of life when someone is of old age. Last but not least, we have the hyperbole. Hyperbole irony is a figure of speech in which exaggeration is used for emphasis or effect. It could, for an example, be he was ready to drop with fatigue.
The fourth irony type is situational, and this type of irony often occurs in the end of a narrative when something surprising, unexpected, and in some way just morally ambivalent happens. It could, for example, be if a fireman's house burns down, or if an Olympic swimmer drowns, or it could be a marriage counselor who has been divorced 3 times.
So the fifth type of irony is dramatic irony, and it is when the spectators know more than the character in the movie. And here comes two examples. In Romeo and Juliet, when everyone is in beliefs that Juliet is dead, but the audience already knows that she just is drugged by sleeping pills. In Forrest Gump, the audience knows the historical events that Forrest is going through, but the funny thing and the ironic thing is that he does not know them himself.
And then there's cosmic irony, which is usually the end result of fate or chance. It can be a person's actions which are out of their control, or they cannot see the effects of their actions. For example, was Titanic said to be 100% unsinkable, but it ended up sinking anyway. And there was this man who owned a very expensive eagle, which he trained, but when he made it do tricks for a journalist, it was hit by a truck and died.
So, last but not least, we have the visual irony. And here in the first picture, we see a picture of this kind of figure, and it says freedom. But the very ironic thing about this picture is that it's kind of surrounded by a fence, which definitely not symbolize freedom.
And then there's the second picture, which is a painting of a tree on a piece of paper, which is very ironic because paper is made out of tree.
So that's the end of our presentation.
Thank you for listening.